So tonight we are talking about time management because we are all on limited time, and also how to overcome busy. So a little bit about my kind of background when I started with It Works, because yes, I am doing this full time right now, but that wasn't always the case. When I started, I was actually working between 10 to 14-hour days, and my commute was an hour and a half to 3 hours during the winter. So I was busy, and during Monday through Friday, I wasn't even having like a single meal with my husband. I would literally be leaving my house between 6:45 and 7:15 in the morning to get to work. And then because I was in children's ministries and worship ministries, we had a Tuesday night children's thing, and then I was also there on Wednesday nights for worship rehearsals. So I was getting home really late on top of that. So I had to figure out how to manage my time with this business when I first started. And up until I went diamond, I was working full time. And there are still people in the company right now that are doubles, triples. We even have a presidential that they still work a full-time job, and they have kids on top of this. I can't really talk about the kid aspect too much since I don't have kids yet, but I do know that there are some teammates who have 2, 3, 4 children that do this as well. So I'll just kind of touch base on some of the things that they do so that they can be the best mom that they can be too. So the very first thing I want to talk to you guys about is you need to know what your goal is. You need to know why you joined this business, and you also need to know how much time you want to put into it to get there. And I know for me that when I joined the business, the first month I didn't really have a goal because I didn't realize the potential with the business. And so from December to January, I didn't really do much with my business. And then I tuned into a corporate call and a Show Me the Money call, and I realized the potential. And so I told my husband, and I said, guess what? I'm going to be leaving my full-time job by June. And he was like, yeah, right, Sarah, what are you going to do? There's no jobs in Corey and things like that. But I set a goal and I set a timeline for myself. And I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And so when you're setting that goal, why did you join the business? We all join for different reasons. And if you join to get an extra $200 to $500 a month, and that's where you want to go with this, and you want to just maintain Ruby, then that's completely fine. A lot of people do that. A lot of people do that so that they can, meet some people through this business, and so that they can pay some bill. They're not looking to reach investor necessarily with the company, but this is why they join, and that's okay. Others of us want to make sure that we're working full time, or we're working from home full time, whether we want to become moms, or maybe we are moms with young children and we don't want others raising our children. That's completely fine too. And for most people, that means they need diamond or double diamond to be able to stay home. And then from there, they kind of just, take things from there. But once you have your goal, I highly suggest while you're doing this too, to get your family involved. If you happen to have kids, if you happen to have, a husband or a fiance, goal set with them. And I think that was one thing that I did with my husband, because he needed to understand why I was spending that extra hour in the evening not hanging out with him. Okay. He needed to understand, because for my husband, he's big on TV. He, has really stressful days. And so he was one who likes to come home at the end of the day. He's a big introvert. So being out with people, I know being a pastor and being an introvert seems like completely opposite, but he's an introvert. And so for him, coming home and relaxing with me on the couch watching TV was a big thing for him. So I had to learn that I had to sacrifice some certain things. And so I told him, I said, with this job right now, he and I, we didn't have a lot of time to spend together. And I said, I want to change that. I want to spend more time with you. But that means in the next 3 to 6 months, I need to sacrifice that hour of time with you. And once he understood where I wanted to go, what I wanted to get out of this, he was a lot more understanding of me investing that time in. And it's going to be the same way if you happen to have children. What can you, you know, even if you have young ones, what can they wrap their mind around that you're trying to achieve for them? And let them in on little visions of what you have planned for your family and what this means. And okay, mommy has to disappear for 15 to 30 minutes right now. Maybe that means that at the end of this, we can go on a vacation together, we can spend a day together, and help them, in their terms, however old they are. Make them part of your goal planning too. And I think you're going to see, when you have your family behind you, when you have your kids and your spouse, even understanding a little bit of why you're doing this business, then they are going to be accepting of that time that you may have to spend away from them in the evening, where your husband would be willing to take care of the kids, or in my case, the pets. As if you didn't happen to see, he was like taking my bird away, so that I can have this undivided attention at that time. So involve them in your game plan, involve them in your goals, so that they know where you want to go with this business too, and they can come and rally behind you and give you that support as you try to figure out how much time you want to invest in the company. So once you know where you're going, then figure out how many hours that means that you can set aside. And most people are going to say, I don't have time to work this business. But for the most part, that means you can actually find time. It's prioritizing, prioritizing your time. We all have 24 hours in the day, right? But how we prioritize our time is what's going to cause results. So once you determine what you want, how much time is it worth it to get there? And if, right now we're having the Ruby chat, you can literally work this business an hour to 2 hours a week and get to Ruby, okay? But that means that 1 to 2 hours a week needs to be very diligent time. And we will talk about the time breakdown a little later, but yes, you can get to Ruby 1 to 2 hours a week. If you want to go faster than that, then, obviously you would want to pour a little more time into this, but you can do that. But it also means that you're being very intentional with the time that you spend. And like I said, we're going to talk about that in a little bit down in the Zoom a little later. So once you set your goal, once you determine how many hours you can work, and that might mean on Mondays you have a really busy day and you can spend 15 minutes working the business. But then on Saturday mornings, your kids, your husband sleep in. So you have, if you wake up an extra 30 minutes early, maybe you have an hour that you can work the business then, and you can focus more time then. That's completely okay. It's not like you have to work a consistent 1 to 2 hours every single day. That's the great thing with this business, is you work it on your schedule. You fit it in when you can actually work it. And I'll give you tips on that. But set your goal, set how many hours right now you can actually pour into it weekly to achieve that goal. And then I would say the biggest part, and I struggled with this my first few months with the business, and my husband called me on it. When you are with your kids, be 100% with your kids. When you are with your spouse or your fiance, be 100% with them. And then that also means maybe you need to slip away into a part of your house to be 100% with it works. Obviously there are going to be some distractions that pop up that you are going to have to set your work down, and that's okay. But I would say, one thing, if you can really nail this down, is, don't be hanging out with your husband and being on your phone, because that's one way to really irritate your spouse, okay? And I really had to learn that early in the business, that if I told my husband, okay, I'm giving you an hour of intentional time, then I actually had to keep my phone upstairs. I didn't even want it to be a temptation, because for me, it was really hard in this business if I saw a message come into my phone for me to not respond to it. And so if I told my husband, guess what, we can have date night tonight, that means my phone was nowhere near me. If you're pouring into your kids during bedtime, story time, whatever it happens to be, that phone keep it out of the room, because temptation is really big in this business. And allow your spouse to hold you accountable to that too, or your friends. If you are having a night out with your friends, don't be working your business while you're with them. Be 100% in with whatever you happen to be doing at that moment. If that means your full-time job, don't be cheating your employers out of time that you're on the clock with them by checking your phone. It's really important that you be 100% into what you're doing at that moment. Of course, other times you want to maximize your time. Okay, so maybe that means, I did this a ton when I was working full-time. Like I said, I had an hour-and-a-half commute on good days, 3 hours on bad days. That's when I was watching my training videos. Okay, I could plug into a Zoom from the night before. We have the team calls on Sunday nights. I was exhausted by Sunday nights, and I needed to wake up early. And so for me, those Sunday night team calls, I listened to the recording on Monday morning on the way to work. And then other times, if I knew that they were shorter things, like tonight's going to be a shorter one, then I was actually listening to them in my shower. Okay, there are times that you need to be 100% involved in what you're involved in, and that normally means be 100% when people are involved. Okay, be 100% in and focused on them. But if it's things like your shower, putting on your makeup, driving to work, those are times women are really good at multitasking. Multitask during that time. I see it all the time, you guys, in morning devotions, right? How many of you are tuning into the morning devotions, but driving to work or putting on your makeup, whatever it happens to be. There are times that you need to be focused, like laser focused on what you're doing, but then other times that you can maximize your time by doing two things at once. And so take advantage of those times. And so for me, all the time, like during my lunch break, I was listening to a training. During my commute in, I was listening to trainings. During my lunch break, I would also be like sending out quick messages. And I am actually going to help you guys maximize your time. Tonight, I am going to put a ton of scripts into Set Up for Success, so that what I do then is I'll talk about this in a little bit, but I have my notes. So when someone asks, okay, what's hair, skin, and nails? Then you can literally copy and paste. It doesn't take time for you to like write something out. And that's another way to maximize your time, so that when you do have 5 to 10 minutes, maybe you're in the grocery line and you're waiting for the cashier, then you can send out a couple of quick messages like that. So maximize those times when you tend to just be standing around. And then next I found this thing, and this is really great. Actually, I'll talk about posting first. Posting isn't really an option with your business. And I think it was actually Jess who said, when I actually do have time to post, people aren't responding. I'll say this all the time. Posting is marketing, okay? Posting is allowing people to see that you're open for business. Posting is giving those people who are on the fence a glimpse into how serious you're taking the business, okay? So for example, say you might have a potential loyal customer who's interested in ordering, but then I know a couple of you who are new to the business have already heard this. Well, what happens when the company keeps charging me and I want to turn off my auto ship or something like that, right? You've heard that before maybe. They want to know that you take this business seriously, and if they start ordering from you and you have a question, that you're going to be there. You're not just going to disappear on them for 2 to 3 weeks when they have a question. So by posting consistently, they are seeing that you're serious about the business, okay? That your doors to this business are actually open, and this is something that even if it's 5 to 10 minutes, that you take this business seriously enough that you're willing to put a post up. And we'll talk about different posts that you can do so that you don't seem so spammy or whatever. But that's for the loyal customer, that's what that means. And then maybe there's someone who's looking and watching you about joining the team. Are they really going to want to sign up with someone who disappears off of social media for a week or for 2 weeks? Because what that means to them and what that is saying to them is, hey, join my team, and I'll be really serious about it when you first join, but then, you know, I might disappear on you for a week or two, and I won't be able to mentor you like you should be. So posting is really one of those things where it's going to give people a glimpse into how serious you take the business, and it's also a source of information, okay? Where you get to inform people about the products. And I know I used this analogy before, but when you're watching TV and you happen to see something you want on TV, maybe, you know, it's that piece of Celebration cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory. I've been eyeing that for about 2 months now since they had the first commercial about it. I didn't run off to Cheesecake Factory and buy that, but it was on my mind and it kept playing, you know, replaying through to the point where Jake and I were like, oh, you know, let's go date night. Where should we go tonight? And then I was like, you know what? I've been eyeing that cheesecake. I can't wait anymore. Let's go to Cheesecake Factory. And that's how it's going to be when people are, you know, like seeing your posts and stuff too. Something eventually is going to click where they want it at that moment, and they're going to buy from you. But it may take seeing it 6, 7, 8 times before they're finally like, okay, I can't stand it anymore. I just need to go and order. So if you're not seeing a lot of interaction on your posts, don't be discouraged by that. In fact, my latest 3 loyal customers have never liked or commented on a post of mine before, and they've been friends of mine since I joined the business. So, you know, you never know who's watching you, and you never know that one person who's on the ledge, and that post is finally going to say, okay, let me contact them about that. So as far as posts, there are a couple of different things that if you as, you know, if you're working full time, that I kind of just want to show you. The first is on Instagram. If you happen to be using Instagram, I'm actually going to share my phone really quick here. You can actually schedule posts beforehand. And a lot of people have been using Buffer up until this point, but at this point you don't need to use Buffer. Is it pulling up here? Sometimes it takes a second. You don't need to use Buffer anymore because through Facebook on your desktop, you can actually schedule posts to post in the future, as well as Instagram. You can actually create drafts. I'm not quite sure. Do you guys see my screen? No. Why not? Probably because can you? Let me try again. Sorry. What about now? Probably not. No. Okay. Well, we'll just go to Facebook. And then I'll try to figure that out. Okay, so with Facebook on your laptop, when you go to create a post, you are actually going to see here when you start writing your post and things like that. So I don't know. This is really cool. Scheduling a post. And you can have a picture and everything else like that. But then you'll see this little calendar here, and it says set date and time of your post. So what you can actually do is you can set the year, so 2017. I want it for August, August 10th, and then the hour. Okay, so I'm going to do 11:30. And then all I'm going to do is create the post. And what it's going to do on August 10th at 11:30, it's going to show that post at that time, okay? So that's one way, and I'll do this so that you guys can see. So it's going to make it seem like you made that post, but you'll see in 1 hour, it's actually going to create that post for me. So you can actually schedule all of your posts beforehand. Another thing I want to show you on Instagram or on Facebook is maybe as you are going through, I suggest that you follow some top leaders. Maybe you want to follow Lauren. You can follow Ashley Reamer. Maybe you want to follow me. So I like a bunch of Ashley's posts. Ashley does really good posts. So I'm going to go to her Facebook. And you can do this on Monday mornings or Saturday mornings when you have time. You can do this, you know, when you're standing in the grocery line or whatever it happens to be. So here she has, you know, this stretch mark post, okay? And so say I really like this post. I probably won't use this post, but say I really like it. What I can actually do is go to the top right corner, and I can't use that one because it's a link. Let me see. Oh gosh, there's so many links. Okay, so maybe this one here. So you can see here, you know, if I happen to like this post and I wanted to post it in the future, I can go and I can click Save Post. And then when you go to your home, I think it's home, and you actually go to the Save button, and this is on your phone and your laptop. You can see this over here. I'm going to have a bunch of saved posts that at this point, all I have to do is copy and paste. So this is actually one that I saved from Ashley earlier today. You're going to want to make sure that you're not sharing it, but you want to copy and paste it. So this, she actually talks about retirement and what retirement looks like and what, you know, the It Works life looks like if you quit your job full time. And you can see it's, you know, all of these people are waiting to be hanging at the beach with their significant other when they are silver haired. But then here she is hanging at the beach with her husband now. And so what I would do is I would just copy and paste this and put it into my own profile so that you can have all of these posts saved for future, so that you don't really have to spend time thinking about that. And you can do this on Instagram as well. Let's see, hopefully this works for me this time. Maybe. Yay! Okay, so here I am actually going to go to the middle create button, okay? And so maybe what I want to do is, oh gosh, I only have 10 minutes left. Okay, so say I want to share this picture, you know, of, I'll just do the cake that I had for dinner. So I will go and I will post it like normal. So I'll click next. I'll get my post ready and just say, you know, whatever it happens to be. Yum, have you guys tried the Celebration cheesecake at Cheesecake Factory? So good. Okay. So then instead of posting it, you have it here like you would be ready to post. If you click the back arrow twice, you're going to see it pop up as Save Draft, okay? So then during the day when you don't happen to have time to make a post, what you're going to do is you're going to go to that Create Post button again. And here, look, you can see all of my drafts. So maybe, you know, tonight, I want this one because when you stop and look around, this life is pretty amazing. All you have to do is click next, and here's what my caption already is, and all I have to do at this point is click share. Oh, that's highly inappropriate. I'm following this person. Sorry, guys. I don't know who that person is, but they're getting unfollowed. So you can see at this point that there it would be, okay? So just like that, I can set these up on Saturday morning, and then during the week when I'm working, I can take 2 seconds on my lunch break or whatever it happens to be that I can just share a post, and I can have a whole bunch of them. You know, I think it's unlimited with how many drafts you can have. So you just scroll through, pick the one that you want at that time. Okay. So the next thing I am actually going to talk about, I think this was Patty, this was her question. How much time do you spend talking to your team, and how much do you spend building your own team? Okay, this comes from Mark Pentecost specifically, where he says a third of your time should be spent on personal development, which we'll talk about in a second. A third of your time should be spent on building your own business, and a third of the time should be spent pouring into your team. Okay. Basically, your business is your, your business is your own business, and that means you need to be making sure that you are signing customers yourself. You are signing teammates yourself. Yes, you are there to be a support to your team and to mentor them, but at the same time, that's not where your entire time should be focused, is on mentoring them. So try to remember that third rule. And maybe you're thinking right now, okay, that's great, but I don't have a team. Then spend 66% of your time enrolling a team. And then that extra third of the time would be personal development. And that could be anything. That could be training with the business, but it could also be training outside of the business. So maybe that means, you are reading a book to learn about time management. Maybe you're reading a book on how to whatever it happens to be, growing yourself personally. And a lot of people are like, well, that's not an income producing activity. It's not actually bringing in an income. Yes, it is, because this business isn't all about, the money. It's about growing as a person. And once you start becoming a more positive person, once you start developing those good leadership skills, people are going to want to join you. They're going to want you to partner with them in this business because they see you being that positive person and things like that. The next thing, and I will share this, I actually just found this, is the rule of 5. And this is actually by Ashley Bilyeu, who is a Ambassador Diamond at this point. And she says that you should be doing these things every single day. Or, if you're only working your business an hour to 2 hours a week, try to do one of these a day for the 7 days. The first one is to be grateful. List 5 things that you're grateful for in this life, okay? And this has to come first, because people know when you're doing this business because you actually like it versus doing this business because you're desperate, okay? We never want to approach this business like we're desperate for customers, like we're desperate for teammates. We're doing this because of the opportunities that it's providing us. So if you can spend spend a couple of minutes actually being grateful and writing down those things that you're grateful for, what you have been blessed with, or, whatever is going on in your life at the moment, to kind of bring those positive things to light, then the attitude with which you're going to go through the rest of these things is going to be completely different. Okay, so 5 things that you can be grateful for, and list those out. And then 5 people that you can encourage in your life. And this could be personal, it can also be it works. Because again, when you are being that positive influence around those, that is going to spread, okay? And you're not going to have a bunch of negative thoughts like, I can't sign a customer, I can't sign a distributor. If you start with these 2 things, your attitude is going to be completely different. So what can you be grateful for, and who can you encourage around you to have those positive talks with, okay? Then you're going to talk to 5 of your personally enrolled distributors. Maybe you don't have 5 personally enrolled distributors yet. Talk to the 2 that you have, talk to the 1 that you have during that day. And then you're also going to talk to 5 personally enrolled loyal customers. And I do this on Fridays, okay? So those loyal customers that you have, I normally check in on them Friday morning to see if they want to change anything in their auto ship. So this isn't even something that I'm doing daily, it's something that I'm doing weekly, okay? Then you're going to message 5 potential customers or potential distributors. These can be follow-up conversations, or these can be brand new conversations. And guess what? It doesn't always have to be about it works every single day, okay? So maybe you're saying, hey, how are you? Like, how's your day going? You're back in school, how's teaching going? Whatever it happens to be. building those relationships with those potential distributors, and not just making it about the business and you wanting them to join your team with urgency. Okay, be a person to them. Same thing with your loyal customer prospects. Okay, be messaging 5 people. And again, this, if you're trying to go fast, this should be done daily. 5 distributors that you're talking to, potential distributors, 5 customers. If you're going the slower route, it's okay if you have 5 conversations weekly. Okay, this is where you get to set your pace. And then also the daily, we normally call it a daily 6 list, but she did a daily 5 list here simply because of time. So what things should you be doing every single day for time? That should be posting daily, okay? And remember, I know some of you said, like, I think it was Jelana, sorry, I'm just saying names based on what you had said. You don't want to feel like a telemarketer. The great thing with this business is it's almost a lifestyle, okay? If you can make posts that refer to your lifestyle, or maybe it's, products that you're using, or maybe it's products that you wished you had used, like if you were pregnant at one point, the stretch mark cream, make the post not spammy, not salesy. Make it about, even tonight, I shared about the cheesecake because it was something that I did, okay? So maybe it's the same thing with you. Maybe you saw an amazing before and after picture, even of a result that, of a product that you're not using personally. But you can go through and say, hey, I was just researching about this product and this is what I found. Okay, so that way it's not spammy. It's not like, here's the product description and here's a corporate image and isn't that great? That is telemarketing. If you are sharing about the lifestyle, if you're sharing about products that you're truly excited about, then that is you simply sharing as a friend, okay? And we do it all the time. Like I posted my Starbucks yesterday, or 2 days ago. I posted my Cheesecake Factory tonight. How many of you post about the Target trip that you just spent hundreds of dollars at Target about? If you can, people do it all the time. People do what we do all the time. They just are not doing it with the company that they're branding, okay? So any questions at this point? I might have to, actually, we have less than a minute. So that's kind of my spiel. If you guys have questions specifically, you can enter into this chat again with the same link and I will answer questions. But as far as the recorded part, that's all I have, okay? So yeah, so just re-enter the Zoom with the same link and I am going to close us out of this one or else it will kick us off. And don't feel like you have to, but if you have questions for me,